Good evening, viewers. The Idea Factory is back with yet another exciting program. And as you always see, we are coming with new and new programs to to answer a lot of queries of our viewers. Before that, let us wish you a very happy Dhanteras and a happy Diwali on the week ahead. This is our program just before the Diwali, and we wish all our viewers a very happy Diwali ahead. Today, we have with us a consultant whom we are introducing for the first time, and he is Mr. G. Jayaraman. Let us introduce him to our viewers. Mr. G. Jayaraman is an economic graduate with law and specialization in personal management from a reputed institute in Mumbai with a degree in general law. He has a 36 years plus experience in all the facets of human resources, have served in engineering, IT, textiles, and farming. Having been in corporates for 36 plus years in the human resources space, he has now branched out as a business coach for the past 6 years. As a coach, he assists entrepreneurs in moving towards their individual and organizational goals by creating a suitable business plan and work with them in a way that they achieve their goals. The role also involves strengthens their personal strengths and competencies, which may also involve administering psychometric tools which help in understanding self. He is an extrovert and looks for networking with like-minded people across the globe. Welcome, Mr. G. Jayaraman, in our platform.
Thank you. Thank you, Abir, for inviting me. And I'm feeling quite honored to be part of this live shows which you have taken up for quite some time. And let's see how our association will shape up and bloom and flower the way we would like to take it forward. Thank you very much. Good to know you also as a person and your enthusiasm to create a niche for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. As already indicated, we are doing a new program, and the name of the program is Business Growth and Steering the Journey. Here we will be discussing business growth aspects of small businesses and how we can take the leadership forward to bring all these businesses to full-grown organizations. Mr. G. Jayaraman has been working on this for a while, and he is the right partner for us to discuss this topic in this platform. Mr. Jayaraman, if you can just tell us a little bit about what are the challenges of business growth today?
Okay. Challenges for business growth today. Having been in the corporate for 37 years and retired from the corporate, I have I do consider myself privileged to have had an insight as to how a business is managed. Having said that, being in the behavioral areas of the human being, and I found that this is a proper mix that is needed for a businessman to take the business to the next level. So what I did was I blended both these traits or strengths which can be said, or the exposures I've had, and I started off my own consultancy firm, the name of Spandan, and I started assisting, facilitating a number of businessmen. So having facilitated and in the course of facilitating a few of them, even now today, I see a number of commonalities across these small entrepreneurs, immaterial of what the business they are in. And hence, the questions you asked seems to be pretty relevant. So the challenges are more or less common across whether it is one person or it is a team of people. So let me address it a few of the traits or a few of the patterns which I've seen. So to begin, let me look at the positive side of the businesses. So the positive side of the business is that each of these entrepreneurs who have started off their business have a very are enthusiastic, and they want to take the business to the next level as early as possible. And they see there's a lot. They also see a lot of opportunities to take the business to the next level. And they only see opportunity. They don't see any pitfalls. So the enthusiasm, the energy they bring it on the table is something fantastic and wonderful to observe. which they could bring it on the table. So having said that, when they come on the table, the one other thing which I very clearly I see with these entrepreneurs, they want to make a mark as quickly as possible, and make as much money as possible, as quickly and as much money as possible, and make a mark in the industry. So while doing what they are doing, and they know that they are a solopreneur, if not an entrepreneur, solopreneur, they cut short. They do some shortcuts. When I say the planning is there, but very scantily the planning is there in place. So every day, it's all decisions are taken in bits and pieces, and the macro picture is not brought on table, and micro pictures are seen and addressed to from time to time. While doing what they are doing, the second very important thing is that the funds, that is the investment part, is in short in supply. They don't have too many, or they have a little bit, but they don't have as much as they have to spend or invest in their businesses. And since the money is the biggest issue, or the investment is an issue, the type of people that are needed are not consciously appointed. So there's a shortage of manpower. The moment there's a shortage of manpower, the next thing that you can quickly or automatically see is one person ending up doing multiple responsibilities and multiple what do you call areas to be addressed to. So I find that the entrepreneurs start addressing many things. One person addressing many things in 24 hours, or in a matter of a day, they want to do many things. So end of the day, what happens is they end up doing everything self, and or they seek assistance in case they badly need people. They seek assistance from their relatives, or from their friends, or their acquaintances, or past colleagues, etc. So this is how a loosely formed what do you call management team gets in place in an organization which wants to grow. So having said that, another area which is again an area of concern is lack of market data on competitors, on the product, on the process to be followed, and what process should not be followed. So whatever the decisions are taken, or what is the strategy that is decided, it is based on that information which is available at that particular moment on the table. So a lot of research has not gone into the ifs and buts and pros and cons of any step that is being talked about. So this is where they approach the business. So the foundation is a little shaky. Why the foundation is shaky? Because an expert is not brought in because they cannot afford, or a specialist is sought for the domain, from the same domain, or from the domain they are looking for. So definitely the foundation is a little shaky or a little weak, and as the things start shaping up, the things start hitting at the foundation of the business. This is where the problem starts setting in. So to summarize what you asked me, the question was, what are the basic challenges of the businesses or growth today? Is these are the few things which comes to my mind, which I'm telling you, is that we need to be a little more pragmatic, realistic in terms of what we are going to, which business are we going to, what sort of data we have, what do we have the right type of person. Now, very rarely I see entrepreneurs look at their own qualities in terms of their own strengths and optimizing their own strengths. They straight away jump into the business and start doing anything and everything. And I personally, coming from a behavioral background, I'm strongly of the opinion that you don't have all the traits, or you don't have all the strength. You are expert in certain areas, but you are definitely not expert in all the areas. So in that case, you need to give up certain area which you are not good in, give it to the person who can do wonders, rather than attempting to do everything together. So this is what that comes to me, and which I'm putting across to you, Abir. Does it answer your question?
Yes, very clearly. I think it sets the ball rolling as to address the issues of business growth, as you rightly said. And we have also been following up on how new businesses are shaping up. And we also agree with the fact that many of the entrepreneurs are rushing into their jobs, and in the process, they are building up a business on other people's money. And I don't want to, name big organizations in this platform, but there's no harm in discussing a very big organization that has built itself overnight, and that is Byju's. I mean, if you look at last year, they have pulled up about 21 acquisitions across the globe, and and that was too fast. They were hitting the headlines every day, and it was like the epitome of growth that we can see. And they were just a startup the other year. I mean, they are not only they are, I think, about 5, 6 years old, and they have run so fast. Today they are World Cup sponsors. They've grown so fast, and now again they are hitting the wrong notes because of their layoffs, because of their financial crunch, and not being able to pay out on that. And there are a lot of things happening, and it also puts us in the back. While speed is very important, but at the same time you have to be able to manage the speed. It also, there is no way we can say that there is an optimum process of the speed. Each individual has his own speed, and organizations are built on their own speed, on their horizon, on their own resources. But what is more important is also to have a stable pattern wherein you jump the steps one step at a time, and do not jump 4, 5 steps so that you have to fall back again. And that, I think, is one of the major issues that we may have to handle with startups. And another thing is something, because there is a very strong funding environment here. So startups are getting funded rather fast, and in the process what happens is that they are building up an organizations on other people's money, which means that it's somebody else has put his money, and without putting his own effort, is building it up. And in the whole process, when for without securing or fortifying the customer base, putting money here and there on other people is perhaps not the best way. So I think we are also on the same page as what you're saying, that organization need to take up a particular method based on the competence of the entrepreneur, with a particular speed, putting his own resources, and also, of course, funding from others, because that is also important. And by that, we are saying that we are not prescribing that any thumb rule as to the speed with which an organization is to build up. It varies from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, but at the same time, we must understand that it has to have a rock solid foundation, because if you do not have the foundation, the amount of effort that you're putting to build a world-class organization, it will fall back after some time, and then there's no one to help you, because in that case, they're all linked up. I mean, if you fall, everything falls back. And there are bigger organizations who have fallen. Forget about startups or small businesses. We are talking of the big businesses which have been built over 20, 30 years, and then suddenly everything falls apart for that organization, and they become bankrupt. The entrepreneur commits suicide, he runs away from the country, and there are so many headlines that are happening across businesses. And every business, any business that was a poster boy 5 years back is hitting the very wrong notes today. So these are some of the points that I wanted to highlight. And I think these all continue with the fact that there is a rush here to build businesses, and so many businesses have started and not done. Again, another example I want to tell you: only a few years back, we were talking about Flipkart. Flipkart was everywhere. They were built up the entire e-commerce market, but suddenly, they lost on the track, and then today Amazon is everywhere. So we are talking of Amazon only. We are not talking of Flipkart nowadays. So the whole process, while you built up the market, you were the first mover. What went wrong? Your entrepreneurs moved out of Flipkart, and then Amazon came over, got a ready-made market, had a huge, massive financial power, and they built up the businesses. Today, every house, there are people coming from Amazon once a day or 2 times a week, delivering products. So Amazon has completely captured the market, which was built by someone else. So we also have to understand any startup who is starting for the first time. First of all, this is a new business for you. You are venturing into business for the first. You're also bringing something new to the market. So it's important that what you build is something for you to enjoy, and not for you to go ahead, and not for the others. My own experience goes back to telecom, and my own experience has been with Bharti Airtel largely, and later on Tata Teleservice. But Bharti Airtel is one poster boy of telecom, which has built its business very fast, but very stable. Even today, they are, number one. So there has been a very high consistency of the performance of Bharti Airtel, and there are great takeaways from Bharti Airtel for startup businesses of today. Please look around, have some case studies studied up before you start jumping into the startup market. And also, it's important to at what age bracket you are starting a startup. Are you starting fresh out of college? Are you starting at in your end 30s, mid 40s, or you are starting after your retirement? So these are the three pockets that we have seen that businesses do start up. And while there is no thumb rule, but to my mind, the way I have positioned myself, I think if you start something on your early 40s, you have a certain amount of experience of corporates, how they work, and also you have some time to build that organization. So starting in the early 40s seems to be a good age to start something meaningful, sustainable, consistent, and world class. So this is from my side. I think these are some thoughts that I have. Of course, there are various business models that are available, and maybe we will discuss some of them today, and let us see how the discussion goes. My question to Mr. Jayaraman, Mr. Jayaraman, if you can tell us a little bit about what are the emerging business growth models of small businesses, and in the process, you can share a little bit about the current business models as well.
Okay. I thought you would say a little more about the current business models today. So anyway, would you like to touch upon a few business apart from Airtel and the other company, Tata Teleservices? You said
I think
Byju's and Airtel. I think you were covered.
I've covered the bigger ones, and just to
Hmm.
add one more point, I think the best way that I take away from when what I bring to the table in terms of my experience is definitely I like the telecom method, because the business model of telecom was very good, especially looking at it from the customer side, because the customer, the typical model that they followed was low price, high volume. That seems to work for an Indian market, and a low price product with a high volume has captured the whole market and has entire change. And perhaps that is the most important model that we want to prescribe also to all our this thing, that you have a low price product and you capture the market through volume. And also what we have learned from telecom is that telecom has consistently built the market by reducing the prices. Now, no other industry you will see that the prices decrease over time. Even if you ask me as a consultant, the price that I'm going to offer today and the price that I'm going to offer 5 years down the line, should I reduce it vis-a-vis what I'm pricing today? Very unlikely that I will do that, but telecom has done that. Telecom has actually reduced consistently the prices in whatever skills they have available. The market has done it. Every competition has done it. So it's to the credit of the customer. Today, every single, almost the entire population has a mobile handset in his mind. And there are, this is perhaps the best model that we want to prescribe and say that this could be the best model instead of, the huge, pricing that we do. And coming back to Byju's, because I am also on the teaching zone, and I follow edtech space regularly basis. And there are people in my space who have said that a company, an edtech company like Byju's has a yearly subscription model or a 2 yearly subscription model, which you have to pay upfront for the student to subscribe to the sessions. And this is something that is also where those who are satisfied, they are satisfied. Those who are not satisfied, there is no way they can get their money back, and they are kind of locked for 2 years. So typically that is also another model that we want to caution our startups, that don't do something which it gives a wrong impression that, as you rightly said in the first stand, that businesses are going to the quick money. So they are actually securing their own finances before taking care of the customer, and that is perhaps not a very sustainable model. You take care of the customer, the money will automatically flow. If it takes a little bit of time, maybe it will, but that doesn't mean that you go, and the impression that you create as a businessman, you go as a businessman, which means that the money comes first and the service comes later. Or you go as a service organization, the service comes first and the money comes later. I think the second approach is a more sustainable approach for a customer, and we have been propagating that. So you service the customer, the money will automatically come to you, not only today but also on a sustainable basis. And the real customer base builds because of repeat purchase. It's not that you buy it one time, but he has to come back to you again and again. And if you do not create the right impression with the customer, your thing will not come again and again. So typically there are, and since I'm already into the topic of the current models, there are certain models. One is the prepaid model, one is the cash on delivery model, and one is also the postpaid model. So postpaid model is something for the, you paid after the service, which is one aspect of it. One is also cash on delivery, which is essentially, you get the product and you, or the service, and you pay on time, kind of thing, which is for products, largely for products. And prepaid is the one where most of the products that we do. I'm also in one subscription. I am a subscriber to one of the lead manufacturing companies, and they follow a completely prepaid model, which means that you have to pay upfront before you enjoy the services. And this is something that we also feel very uncomfortable, because without experiencing a service, if you're asking me to pay 1 full year of subscription, this is not something that this does not give a very good impression about the organization. So what we have done, we have converted into an EMI model. And of course, again, there is some terms and condition, which means the EMI model is higher. So you pay it up across the months, but that also is a slightly better approach than, upfront payment. So so let us also look into the payment models for the customers also. That also gives a kind of an impression of the business and the kind of payout that the customer has to make to avail the services. These are some of the things, and we always talk about, maybe if you ask me, the process that attracts me is, of course, cash on delivery, or the postpaid, or the EMI model, or there is also the traditional method, or you pay a little bit of advance and then the remaining on the completion of the assignment. So there could be an advance of 20-30% when you start the assignment, and remaining 70% when you complete the assignment. That is also another good approach. But the Indian market is largely prepaid, and today most of the services that we get today is kind of, you have to pay upfront, and then only you can enter into the services, which is, difficult for a customer who is using it for the first time, and also establishes you as a businessman first and not a service provider. Service provider will look at the service first, and the payment will be automatically come to you. These are some thoughts from my side. Maybe you can take it up forward from my side from me to you.
Okay. Um, Abir, I heard you elaborating in the area of services, predominantly in the area where people provide services, prepaid model or postpaid model. Let me add to whatever you have covered. I have been dealing with people who are in the manufacturing setup, people who manufacture products, but those services are also there. They followed a slightly different model. So a person who manufactures certain products are the person who need to know where he or she is in that particular industry. For instance, I was working with an engineering company and I'm still in touch with them. What is very important, who are my competitors? The first thing is, who are my competitors and what sort of a product are they manufacturing, and in what way they are different from what I am doing. So in other words, what I am saying, which I said in some time back, is what sort of a market intelligence you have as far as your competitors are concerned. That's the first thing you need to understand. Having understood or having got a hold of what others are doing, you need to benchmark and you need to see where you as a person, me as a client or me as an engineering expert, need to know where am I vis-a-vis my other clients, and what sort of innovations or what sort of creative ideas, what sort of various steps need to be taken. Based on that, one need to position. Like for example, my clients were in certain areas which are of specialty products. Not too many people will be able to do. There are only 7 to 8 people across India. So those 7 or 8 manufactured across India, but the person was recent entrant need to innovate and continue to see that this cost is not high, at the same time his quality is equal or superior to my competitors. And that is the basis on which he was able to compete with a very big manufacturers, and he was able to get a foothold in the industry. And this is where I see that it needed a huge amount of efforts to prove that yes, I do the same thing, and that too at a lesser cost than the senior people who are already there in the market for more than a decade. So this Mr. model is what my clients were, and this is what I was also with him, where we did not cut the cost to such an extent that it is cutting into our profit. Our profit was sufficient, was more than enough for us to take, though it was not super profit like the way back our competitors were there. But that competitor, that we were able to really position in a way that we could get our profit, at the same time quality was not compromised. And in that profit, we were able to get hold of the experts who needed at certain time to see that we are able to innovate on a regular basis and cut down on cost. So what is it that we did in our business model? I'm talking about one engineering company, or one is more in the plastic cum engineering company. And the third one is in the area of jewelry. See, here also the same thing in terms of the jewelry, the jeweler who is with whom I am associated with, the jeweler is also competing with the large people in the market like Tanishq and all that. So this person is able to give a superior quality with a hallmark and etc. Still the prices were less. Still cost of quality of service, product service, etc. were really working. So if I'm going to compare these three companies which I'm talking about, that is the jewelry, the engineering, and the plastic industry, these three companies have reached a level of at least anywhere between 10 to 25 crores. So they were, what was the key point which I keep emphasizing with my client is continuous, regular review mechanisms is the need of the day. Otherwise, what happens is we get into the regular day-to-day work, and the whole thing goes for a toss. So my job as an advisor or as a consultant or a coach, I was able to really push this into their system in a way that we were able to be, at least for the first 3 to 4 years, we were able to do what we should do to see we on the course. We always get tempted to go astray, but yes, my USP is I was able to keep the client on the course in such a way that they were able to make profit on a regular basis and they were able to grow. This is what I wanted to emphasize in the when you said about business model, business growth, etc. So that's my submission to your question, Dabir. Over to you.
Right.
So yeah. So would you like to add any attributes of the business growth today, or something like that?
Yeah, typically based on, I think you give a different perspective since you have a more experience on the manufacturing sector. That gives a good experience. What we are trying to do is that attribute is the thing that this is a continuation of the thoughts that I said, that you focus the business around the consumer and look at it from the consumer side. Okay, to a large extent, and I'm saying from the extent that not from my, consulting experience, but also because we are all consumers at the end of the day. We do buy a lot of retail products. So in that case, as a customer, we get to see a lot of, things about a company. That, so as I told you, the Amazon brings that products to us. Then Tata 1mg comes and gives a lot of products. Today, every house you get a big basket delivery. So these are so many retail customers that are coming our way, and we do we see in the recent process we also bought some Samsung products at home, and we still feel that whatever we see that while to some extent the market has improved in terms of the power of the consumer has increased, but at the same time we also see that the to a large extent it is also a seller's market. And maybe I would rather say that in one of the products that we bought very recently, a consumer durable, and we went ahead and bought the product. So it was the high end of the spectrum, and then we went for a 4-year warranty, extend 1 year normal warranty, and an extended year of 4 years warranty. And when we wanted to go for the service, because this was not, there were some complaints that we went and complained for that. And later on, when the service people came over, after multiple follow-ups, it very give us a very eerie feeling that we have to follow up for every just for a newly bought product. And we went and talked to them, to the service people who came over, and to our surprise we find that the service guy does not belong to that company at all. It has been outsourced to someone down the level, and he has no clue anything of the big company that we are talking of. So the service person comes as a regular guy. He does not wear the badge of the big company and does not give us the feel that this is a service of a big company. So these are, more, and I was very surprised that we got to know. And then we spoke to them when I asked them over phone, are you the service holder of the main company or you are an outsourced agent? They could not answer properly. They just avoided the question. So where are these leading to? And while you are talking of, the high end, there are also so many things happening in the market. And here we may not be talking of a very big business model, but I am also looking at it from the customer, because it's easy for us, without going into the intricacies, because in that case you have to be an expert in every industry. It's easy for us to understand it from the customer's point of view and then go backwards into the organization to see how the organization works. Okay, but the end of it, the service of the customer speaks all. I mean, as you rightly said, the output, the result of the whole process is in how you serve your customers. So whatever business model you follow, if your actual customer is not taken care of in the serious way which you propagated or you promised when you made the sale, if that does not follow through, then we are back to square one. This was already happening before. So today's businesses, are they doing it? And if this is the story of big names of today, the smaller businesses have a really big job to do. The reason why I'm saying is that big businesses have kind of lost the opportunity of being too close to the customer. They don't have a bond with the customer. The smaller businesses, our request to them is, you must build a bond or a relationship with the customer. See, the kind of business that we are doing, it's all through relationships. So if you want your customer to think about you whenever they make a purchase, you have to build a relationship with the customer, whatever product or whatever service you have, and things will follow through. So things are, you have to be in good terms, be associated with the customer. So once you make the purchase, don't, expect the customer to come back to you automatically. You just have to work on the customer and see. So there are two approaches. One, you have to reach out to the new customer in whatever way you can, and also to, service the existing customer, because over a period of time, your existing customer is the main guy who's going to buy your products. So typically, when you have a benchmark measurement, typically say 60-70% in a stable organization, 60-70% or maybe 80% is from the existing customer, and remaining 20% is from the new customer. So keep the balance and keep the focus, and whatever energy you're investing in building, bringing a customer on board, do not allow it to go waste. These are, from my side, in terms of the attributes. Also, as you rightly said, that people are bringing in money quickly, and that is how, they are building it up. And there are stories of startups failing at even at a very early stage, because of let us talk of the controversy around Bharat Pay also, wherein the entrepreneurs had to exit this thing, because they took their money home instead of putting it back to the business. Now, who is going to protect you that you don't take the money home when it is required in the business? Of course, you have to have a certain amount of money, but that does not mean what was meant for the business has to reach your home. So those are some standards that each and every entrepreneur has to put inside. Ethics, right? The right ethics have to be brought in. Put best practices. We are talking of world-class organization. We are talking of organization that should last your own entire lifetime. So if it has to enter your lifetime, if you're doing shortcuts to build your business, should you expect it to last your lifetime? In that way, that is what is happening, because half of the entrepreneurs today, they are making money, but they are leaving the business after some time, and then again they have to start another business, because they are failing. And imagine that standard is being set by outsiders. You're failing the standard set by outsiders. Rather, it should be the other way around. The entrepreneur has to set standards, and the other should have to follow. But in the process, what happens? The entrepreneurs are actually not able to meet up the standards of the investors who put in money. And this are, serious problems in India, because we are seeing so many headlines, and not one. There's a series of things happening where, businesses are hitting the headlines for all the wrong reasons. And we are giving all the support to businesses to see that please be patient, build the organization over time, and let it be a world-class organization. But you have to do things differently, better, and keep your focus on the customer. I think these are some of the attributes that I thought I should highlight at this kind of a situation, because as of now, our ethical standards are still not very strong. and we have to build on our ethical or value system so that people can boast of a very world-class organization. By a world-class organization, we don't mean that they are, they had an MNC over 20 countries. No, even if you have 100 customers or 200 customers, they should be saying that they are getting a service or an association with you. They should be proud of the association that they have with you. And that takes a lot of energy, that takes a lot of effort from our side. We have
So,
almost reached, yeah, Mr.
so
Jayaraman,
to
if you can just
summarize, what I'm saying is for engineering companies, for manufacturing from B2B, the business model is different. For B2C, the business model is different, and one has to be aware of where the clients are and how it is to be taken. But this need to be seen before a company goes to the next level. So people need to be this should not be lost sight of. That's what I wanted to summarize and conclude our discussion on business models. Okay, over to you, Abir.
right.
I'll take it over. Yeah.